Hello everyone, today I'll be reviewing Annie Hall. So Annie Hall came out in 1977 and was directed, co-produced and starring Woody Allen, and this film is set in New York and Woody Allen plays a character called Alvy Singer, and this film is really focusing on the relationship between Alvy Singer and the title character Annie Hall, who is played by Diane Keaton. So this is really one of those classic romantic comedies. It is often thought to be one of the best romantic comedies of all time. And it's a very interesting take on relationships in general. The way this film shows the relationship between these two characters and the use of flashbacks as well makes it a very interesting film to watch. In fact, this film uses lots of different techniques throughout it, which really break it down very nicely and just make the film a very different kind of film that we would expect it to be if you're expecting it to be a romantic comedy. For example, Woody Allen in this film, he often is in this scene where he's talking to someone and then he'll break away from the conversation and suddenly look directly into the camera and talk to us, the audience, just to let us know what he is thinking and what he is feeling about this situation. I suppose it just helps us connect with the character a bit more and know what is going through his mind. We also get quite a lot of moments in this film where it's showing two scenes at the same time. I say there's lots of moments like this, I can only really think of two, but there is, for example, a scene with Alvy Singer and Annie Hall, but two separate scenes, and they're both talking to their psychiatrists. So we'll have a bit of dialogue from one scene, then we'll go back to another scene, and we basically find out what each character is thinking about their relationship. And sometimes they see the same situation in the same way, and sometimes I see it in a bit of a different way. But really what this film is about the relationship between these two characters and how each character views each other differently. Because Alvy Singer as a character is maybe quite intellectual, a little bit nerdy, whereas Annie Hall, Diane Keaton's character, is maybe not quite as intellectual. However, both these characters, they do actually have quite a lot in common and manage to find common ground. Now, obviously, being a romantic comedy, this film has lots of jokes in it. There are quite a lot of funny bits in this film. I didn't find there were that many moments when I was actually laughing out loud funny. There are maybe a couple of moments. One very funny moment is actually when some of the characters are about to use some cocaine and Alvy Singer, he's looking at the cocaine and he just sneezes right into the cocaine, all the powder goes everywhere. So that bit actually really made me laugh, but it's often just these witty one-liners that Woody Allen says throughout this film which makes it very funny. For instance, he quotes Groucho Marx near the start and he says, "I wouldn't want to be part of any club that would have me as a member." And he makes lots of other funny sort of witty remarks, often in response to other characters throughout this film that really make it seem like a comedy. Or he'll make a comment on something as they're driving through California. We'll see, people don't throw out their garbage here, they just turn it into movies and things like that. So it just makes funny little witty comments out of the film. One of my favourite scenes in this film is when Alvy Singer and Annie Hall, they're out on a balcony chatting to each other. And they're having a conversation basically about some artwork which is in Annie's apartment. But while they're saying this, it has subtitles on the screen which says something completely different to what they're saying. Now the idea is that what they are really trying to say is different than what they're actually saying. So they're thinking something completely different to what they're saying. It's just really funny watching the text come up and you can sort of see as a viewer, oh yes, now I understand what they mean. This is what they're really thinking, but they just don't want to say it out loud because of how it comes across. Woody Allen comes across in this film as a little bit strange, but often in his performances and perhaps as an actor in real life, it is how he generally comes across, because I've seen Woody Allen in interviews before. He always comes across as this sort of quirky, nerdy sort of fella saying funny things every now and then, and he often seems to see the world in a slightly different way than other people would. An example of this is in the film, his character Albie Singer says to us as the audience that when Snow White was on as a kid, everyone would fall in love with Snow White, but he would fall in love with the evil queen instead. Throughout this film, he seems to ask us, the audience, what we're supposed to think of him, and he often looks to us for guidance in this film, as though he needs a bit of help and he thinks he's doing something wrong. One interesting scene is when him and Annie Hall are going through a bit of a rough period, and he walks up to a couple in the street and he asks them, "You two look like a happy couple. What is your secret?" The woman says, "I'm completely shallow and don't care about anything." And the man says, "And I'm exactly the same." In terms of romantic comedies, this is definitely one of the most memorable. It's very quirky, quite unusual. This film definitely inspired a lot of romantic comedies that came after it. For instance, films like When Harry Met Sally have a fairly similar plot when you link it to this, and when you compare them, you can definitely see the influence that this film has had on lots of other romantic comedies. And definitely for Woody Allen, this was probably his first proper big successful film, because he did have films before this that he directed. The films before this, they were often making fun of different genres. For instance, he did a film called Bananas, which was making fun of war films, and then he did a film called Sleepers, which was making fun of sci-fi films. But really with this, when he really found that he's very good at directing romantic comedies and doing relationships between men and women on film. Although personally I've never been a particularly big fan of his work, but really this is really the only Woody Allen film that I have actually properly sat through and watched entirely, so maybe I shouldn't be too quick to judge there. Overall, I have to say, as a romantic comedy, I think it's very good. How, again, like I probably said in my other reviews, this probably isn't the type of film I want to go back and watch again, unless I was in the mood for rom-coms, which generally, I suppose, I do like a rom-com every now and then, but it's not my favourite type of film genre. So I'm going to give Annie Hall a rating of 8 out of 10. I'd really recommend it if you're someone who enjoys rom-coms or you like older rom-coms. And if you do like rom-coms, I reckon you will be able to see the influence this film has had on the genre. Another interesting thing I'll mention quickly is that this film features lots of cameos from actors who then went on to be very successful. So you get very brief appearances by actors like Christopher Walken, Sigourney Weaver, and Jeff Goldblum, though some of them are very brief. Blink and you'll miss them. So anyway, there we go. That is my review of Annie Hall. So have you guys seen Annie Hall? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Please let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.